Something really big is happening in the world of AI right now. We're watching it evolve from just being great at finding information to actually being able to reason with it. And today, we're going to walk through exactly what that evolution looks like by comparing standard RAG to this powerful new idea called Agentic RAG.
Here's what we've got on tap. First, we'll get the basics of RAG down. Then, we'll look at how the traditional process works before jumping into the huge leap that is Agentic RAG. We'll put them side by side to really see the difference, and then we'll look ahead at what this new autonomous future could actually mean.
Okay, so before we can jump into the future, we've got to understand the present. Let's start with the absolute foundation. What exactly is RAG? RAG stands for Retrieval-Augmented Generation, and the idea behind it is actually pretty simple, but it's super powerful. Instead of letting an AI just guess an answer based on its training data, we give it a library, a specific knowledge base, to check first. It retrieves the relevant facts from that library, and then it generates an answer. Basically, it stops the AI from just, making stuff up.
Okay, that's the big idea. But what does it actually look like in action? Well, the traditional RAG process is super straightforward. Think of it like a one-way street from your question directly to the answer.
So if you look at the diagram here on the left, that's traditional RAG in a nutshell. It's a clean, simple, one-way flow. You ask a question, and the system follows a rigid set of steps to spit out an answer. No second guessing, no going back to check something else. It's a totally linear process.
And these steps are always the same. First, you kick things off with a query. Second, the retriever component dives into that knowledge base, usually a vector database, and pulls out what it thinks are the most relevant pieces of text. And third, the LLM generator takes those pieces of text and uses them as context to write the final response.
So yeah, it really boils down to this. Retrieve, then generate. Find the info, write the answer. That's the whole process. It's great for straightforward questions, but here's the catch. It only gets one shot at finding the right stuff.
Okay, this is where things start to get really, really interesting. We're now seeing a massive leap forward from an AI that just follows a list of instructions to one that can actually, think.
I mean, what if it wasn't just this straight line? What if the AI could actually stop for a second, look at the problem, decide it needs more info, and then go look for it somewhere else? What if it could actually come up with a plan?
And answering those questions is exactly what leads us to this new model. It's a much more dynamic, flexible process, and it's all thanks to one key new player, the agent.
And you can see the difference right away in this diagram. Just look at the right side. It's not a straight line at all. It's more like a dynamic web. Right in the middle of it all, you've got the agent. You can think of it like the conductor of an orchestra or the brain of the operation. All those arrows and loops, that's where the magic happens.
So the big idea here is that the agent isn't just spitting out text anymore. It's been given a whole new set of skills. It can actually reason about your question, break it down into smaller pieces, create a multi-step plan, and then go and execute that plan.
And this is the real game changer. It has a whole toolbox. It's not just limited to that one retriever anymore. Sure, it can use the retriever tool if that's what's needed, but it could also decide to fire up a web search tool for the latest info, or even use a code interpreter to run some calculations. It's smart enough to pick the right tool for the specific task at hand. And the way it does all this is through what's called an iterative reasoning loop. So it'll take an action, like doing a web search. Then it'll stop and observe the results. It'll think, okay, did that help? Do I have what I need? Or should I try something else? And it just keeps doing this, acting, observing, thinking, over and over, until it's totally satisfied it has the best possible answer.
Okay, so let's really break it down. Let's put these two head-to-head and see how they stack up.
This table lays it all out perfectly. Look at the process flow. You go from a simple straight line to a dynamic, multi-step loop. For decision-making, it goes from a fixed, preset path to autonomous adaptive planning. Tool usage, it explodes from one single tool to a whole toolbox. And maybe the most important part, flexibility. It goes from being stuck with whatever it found on the first try to being able to actively seek out new information and even correct itself if it goes down the wrong path.
So if you remember one thing, let it be this. The old way is a static process. It retrieves some info and gives a response. This new agentic way is a dynamic process. It reasons, it acts with its tools, and it self-corrects. It's kind of like the difference between a simple calculator that gives you one answer and a full-blown scientific researcher who runs multiple experiments to find the truth.
So, this is way more than just a cool tech upgrade. It's a really fundamental shift in what we can start to expect from AI. Let's talk about why this evolution actually matters so much. This quote really nails it. We're shifting away from a simple, linear, retrieve then generate model to a much more sophisticated, dynamic cycle of reason, plan, act.
And here's how to think about it in the real world. The old RAG is like an amazing search engine. You ask, it finds. But Agentic RAG, that's your personal research assistant. It can tackle really complex, messy questions that don't have a single, easy answer waiting to be found. It can pull information from all over the place and synthesize it into something entirely new.
So you have to wonder, as AI keeps evolving from just finding answers to actually reasoning its way to them, what's next? As these systems become true partners in thinking and problem-solving, what kind of incredible new possibilities is this going to unlock for all of us? The journey is really just getting started,